Learning how to read a boarding pass is essential to figuring out where you need to go when you arrive at the airport, and also to help you know when it's your turn to board your flight. So if you're brand new to flying, this video is going to show you how to get your boarding pass and be able to read it so that you can travel like a pro. Let's go.
Dream vacations start here.
So depending on the airline you'll be flying on, each boarding pass will look a little different, but the information will generally be the same with a few variations. But let's start out by answering the most important question, which is how do you even get your boarding pass? There are a few ways to do this. The first way is to get it at the airport. When you arrive at the airport, look for the airline you'll be flying on, which will be located on the departures level of the airport, and there you should find a number of kiosks where you can check in for your flight and receive your boarding pass. Now, if you're flying international, then you may be required to check in with an actual airline employee who will check your passport and other required documents needed to travel to the country you're going to. The next way to get your boarding pass is to print it. Usually the airline will email you or text you when it's time for you to check in for your flight. Once you check in for your flight, the airline will generate a boarding pass for you, which will be emailed to you so you can print it at home or anywhere else that you have access to a printer. Usually you won't be able to check in for your flight until 24 to 48 hours before your flight's departure time, although some airlines like EasyJet in Europe will allow you to check in 30 days before your flight. The third way to get your boarding pass is through the airline's app. Downloading the airline's app will allow you to receive a digital boarding pass that you can store on your phone after you have checked in for your flight. So if you're worried about losing the physical boarding pass, getting a digital boarding pass will help alleviate that worry. So now that you have your boarding pass, let's go through how to read it. Let's look at a sample American Airlines boarding pass.
Here's a typical American Airlines boarding pass. The first thing I want to point out are the barcodes. There are two places where your boarding pass will need to be scanned. The first place is right as you're entering security. A security officer will scan both your boarding pass and ID. And a tip for you here, make sure you place your boarding pass where you can easily find it again. As you're going through security, it's easy to stuff it somewhere and then later forget where you placed it. The second place that your boarding pass will get scanned will be at boarding time. An airline gate agent will scan your boarding pass right before you enter the jetway to board your flight. The thing you'll notice on the boarding pass is the American Airlines logo. You'll see right next to it a smaller logo, which is hard to read, but it says One World. One World is a group of airlines that have partnered together to be able to offer flights on each other's airlines. So for example, American Airlines may not fly to the city that you want to visit, but their partner airline, British Airways, does. So instead of having to buy two separate tickets on two different airlines, you can buy both flights through American Airlines. One flight would be on American Airlines and the other flight on the partner airline, British Airways. Doing this allows your baggage to be transferred automatically to the partner airline so you don't have to worry about rechecking it at the connecting city. Next to the One World logo is the PNR locator. This is your reservation number with the airline. So if you need to make changes to your flight, you can use this code to access your reservation through the airline's website or app. Moving down below boarding pass is the passenger name, which should have your name listed. Below your name is where you're departing from and where you're heading to. So in this example, I would be flying from San Diego to Dallas-Fort Worth. The next item below that is the group number. This refers to your boarding position. So instead of everyone boarding all at once, airlines like to space out the boarding process and board in groups. So in this example, you would wait until the gate agent calls group 2 to board. Other airlines will also call it zones instead of groups, but the process works the same way. Next is the carrier, which just refers to the airline. So AA is American Airlines. If you're flying on a partner airline like British Airways, then it might read BA for British Airways. Next to the carrier is the flight number. This will be an important number to know since you can use it to verify that you're at the correct gate at the airport since gates can frequently change. And if it has changed, then you can look up to see which gate your flight has changed to by looking at the departures boards located throughout the terminal as well as on the airline's website or app. The next item is class. American is using letter codes to indicate which class ticket you booked, but for other airlines, it will just read the class ticket you booked, such as economy, economy plus, business class, or first class. The Q in this example indicates that it is a discounted economy class ticket. Moving below is the gate number. If you have a printed ticket like this one, just know that gates can change, so it's best to frequently check the gate number until you arrive at the gate. Once you arrive at the gate, any changes to the gate number will be announced by the gate agent. It's also best to sign up to receive text messages from the airline, which will notify you of any changes to your flight that you'll need to be aware of. The next item is the boarding time. If you're flying domestically, most boarding times begin 30 minutes before the flight is set to depart from the gate. For international flights, boarding times can start as early as 45 minutes to an hour before the departure time. If you happen to sign up for the airline's frequent flyer program, your member number will show up on your boarding pass so that you will earn miles for the flight. Other airlines will instead show your status as a member as opposed to your member number. Next is the date of the flight, and below that is your assigned seat number. And if you're new to flying, there's a program that you can enroll into called TSA PreCheck. This program is essentially a fast pass through security. It's a program that I'm enrolled into, and I can typically get through security on average in about 5 minutes. If you are interested in enrolling, I'll link you to the website where you can enroll. And I also have a video that explains everything you need to know about the program. I'll link that video in the description as well. If you do end up applying, then you'll have this TSA PreCheck logo on your boarding pass to indicate that you have PreCheck privileges. Here are some examples of boarding passes from other airlines. They typically all have the same information I just covered, but just different formatting. We will go ahead and look briefly at what a digital boarding pass will look like if you choose to use that instead of a paper one. Here is an example of a Southwest digital boarding pass of a flight I did last year. As you can see, it is a little more simpler than the paper boarding passes, so let's start at the top. You will see the flight number and the gate number. The good thing about digital boarding passes is that the information on the boarding pass will automatically update with any gate changes, so you won't have to worry about finding a departures board to look up any gate changes. Next on the digital pass are the departing and arriving cities, and then below that is your name, boarding group, and the date. Now Southwest does their boarding very differently than any other airline. They have open seating instead of assigned seating. So the way it works is that there are 3 groups for boarding: an A group, a B group, and a C group. Each group has 60 positions in it. The time you check in for your flight determines your position in line. So on my boarding pass, I am in the A group, position 59. So essentially, I am the 59th person to board the plane, and being in the A group, I have a good choice of seats to choose from, as opposed to being in the C group, where you're just getting what's left available for seats. Below that is the boarding time and the departure time and your status with the airline, which you can see I have no status with Southwest Airlines. And finally, there is my TSA PreCheck indicating that I am enrolled in the program, and the barcode, which is grayed out because this boarding pass is no longer valid. But essentially, you would place your phone on a scanner when going through security, and then again as you're boarding the plane. And here's a look at a United Airlines digital boarding pass, which is very similar to the Southwest one.
And if you're interested in knowing step-by-step how to navigate an airport for the first time, I have a video on how to do just that. Just click or tap the video, or you can find the link down in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to catch you in a future video.